Hey guys, Anna here. Welcome to today's video. So today we have another collab build. We are in the world of Oasis Springs, and this build is brought to us by Jen, our good friend Jen from Jennifer44 over here on YouTube. I have collabed with Jen before. We do know her here on this channel, and this is a very special build that she had given me. A very big challenge today. So this is a single mum home for 10K. So it's a 10K house for a single mum and her two children. So we have a toddler and a child, Sim, who live here. And this is a home where the concept was it was to be for a single mum who unfortunately doesn't have a lot of money. It's very limited what she can do. I envision that this is a home where potentially it might be even state or government housing, like that kind of vibe towards the build. All right, so the restrictions I had was obviously it was a 10K build. I knew that there were to be children's rooms because it was a single parent. The packs I was able to use was Werewolves, High School Years, and obviously Base Game. And as you can see now, we're placing the windows. Those Werewolves windows really played on that build. It kind of makes it look like a little bit of a dated building. Maybe something's a bit run down, maybe semi-abandoned. Really cheap, like the price of the property is going to go down in my opinion because of those type of windows. But I also did a brick house because when I thought of a budget build in terms of where I live and where I grew up, a lot of them are brick houses, and when we get into the flooring, there's a lot of hardwood flooring, some carpet. So you'll see that in this build, and we've just completed the floor plan actually, and as you can see, it's a very interesting shape. So I've really loved doing the front door on a diagonal. You guys know that I love this. And so this actual house is a 2x1. So the child Sim has their own bedroom, but the toddler actually sleeps in that little kind of square that's off from the master bedroom. And I thought that that was an interesting take because for me, if that was any other build, that would kind of be like a walk-in closet. But I feel that maybe because she's a single mom and they were tight for space, maybe this is the only house that the state could provide her, that she had to use that walk-in closet space for her child. So that's actually where the toddler sleeps. And I thought that that was quite genius in kind of conveying the story that this build has with it. Now, this is actually not sped up very much at all. It's on a very low setting because this build was very quick to build. It is only 10K when you you don't have a lot to buy. When you only have 10K, like we are really rushing through it. By the way, this High School Years bedside table, amazing. These were fantastic in that budget. And then with the Werewolves, that kind of the rundown couch and that carpet were essential. These were actually objects that Jen and I both discussed, and we said that if we could, they had to be in the build. And we got a Penguin TV. We managed to get a TV. I'm very proud of that. Obviously I would prefer the dining chairs to be a little bit nicer, a bit more furniture in the kids' room. We did manage to get a Bluffy. Thank God the werewolf pack was involved in this because lots of items just were perfect for this. I went with a pink kitchen only because to me that gives off the vibe of it being a little bit more dated. Maybe the house came with those objects. Obviously I know if you were to rent out a government house here in Australia, it would come with kitchen appliances. So you would have that. Alrighty, so let's talk about the landscaping, which is what we are moving into next. Now, you guys know that I really enjoy landscaping. It's something that when I do my builds, this is my time. And for me, I wanted this house to be obviously very cheap and affordable, but I wanted it to look nice, and I felt really bad. I felt after furnishing it, not really furnishing it, the best as I could to my ability, I wanted this place to look nice. And I decided that the way that the house is positioned, so it's essentially an L shape, and I wanted I wanted your eyes to go from the front of the building to that front door. And it's actually a nice front door. So this is a Base Game front door. And I think it's kind of maybe that Spanish feel. I'm not sure. But I really loved the green. And that kind of set the tone for the roof tiling, for the windows, for that, that kind of feel. So it's definitely a mixture of wooden and brick, which is very much what in Australia, a lot of the government houses that I've seen have used those materials. So that's why I've chosen that today. And I definitely love how that pathway, that debug pebblestone pathway leads to the front door. That's where your eyes go. And I really love that. And I was able to really kind of adds some pops of color. So not that, I mean, I know we are heading into December shortly, but yeah, no, reds and greens. I've been using a lot of reds and greens, not purposely, but it's been going that way. And that's definitely what we do here with the landscaping. So I went with this debug fence because it kind of was like a very cheap kind of white picket fence. And a lot of kind of, I don't want to say, I mean, it's more of an American thing for sure. Like in Australia, we don't have these white picket fence. I mean, we do on some houses, but to me, this really fit the vibe. It gave the house a little bit more street appeal. It kind of, the actual fence itself looks a bit dated. So to me, it kind of adds to that vintage feel. This would be an older house, in my opinion, an older property. And then I found these red debug flowers and I was sold. So this really stark red with that kind of muted kind of, it's like a tealish green. It worked so well in this build. And that's where I kind of took all of the red flowers I could find in debug and just kind of positioned them away around the path and over by this tree. And then we just kind of make like a fake little garden bed with these, I don't know what they are. They're like fern leaf bush things. It's all debug, of course, because we don't have any money. So we've actually spent the 10K. 10K has been spent. So we do just landscape. So the house is actually fully decorated. We've been through that. And I do love the space. I was able to, just jumping back into the decorating, obviously her bedspread has got some pink in it as well. So that kind of relates to maybe the kitchen. And you know, little snippets like that to make the house look a little bit more cohesive for when we look inside. These white flowers were beautiful. I love to include little bits of white. I feel that it balances out your landscaping for your color scheme. It's very important. And I just really ran with these. Usually I use low laying flowers, but I feel like the texture of these leaves is a little bit better for Oasis Springs. That, you know, just a little bit more fitting. And I love that we have different shades of green that are going on and different shades of red. It's, you know, you've got more of a pinkish muted red to a very vibrant red to from a dark green to a very kind of muted, almost gray green, which is really lovely. These cypress trees were amazing. I really loved how they framed the house. So again, like, my eyes go straight to that front door and it's all party in the front. There's no backyard in this building, which, you know, I would have loved to have put some kid objects, but, you know, to be fair, like, this is definitely more of a starter home, I would say. And then we go into the archway, and I think that archway is absolutely beautiful. So I always wonder, do you even bother with terrain paint in like Oasis Springs? But this was really good. It darkens obviously the sand underneath where we're putting it, but it puts these like weeds. I actually thought this was great because to me it's very realistic and it kind of added a little bit more dimension, I think, to the ground, because otherwise it's all just dirt and sand. And I feel like this like adds a bit more interest. I do go in with some dirt. I think I go in with a more muted sand than I would normally use. I would normally use the kind of really stark dirt, but I didn't. I just wanted to just do something a little bit more muted and just go over the path and all of the plants with this. So yeah, and I believe this is the final touches of the landscaping. Yeah, so I just go in under the building. So putting any form of terrain dirt under your buildings, it just makes it a little bit more realistic. You can do the same with fences. I always forget to put terrain paint under my fences, but as you can see, it just looks a little bit more polished after we've done that. So yeah, that's a tip for you. Don't forget your terrain paint. Alrighty, so we have now jumped into the game for our tour. So again, as you can see, we've probably gone over our landscaping, but just a quick overview. So we are going into the house now. All right, so you enter through the front door and you have the hallway. Very basic hallway. Really, as I said, I loved this kind of werewolf's couch with the rug. I really loved it. I love that the pink from the cushion matches into the rug, which then matches into the stove and the fridge. Color of thirds, you guys know how I do it. And then you go down the hall off to a very little bathroom. I don't even have a sink, but there is a sink in the kitchen, so I suppose that they could just use that. The kids' room, what I didn't mention before is I was able to put some books, and I think that's important because that's an extra bit of skill building. Alrighty, down into the master bedroom. Very sad, but we have a pink mirror. So I wanted to make sure that there was a mirror, a sink, and some books. So somewhere in the house is absolutely everything you need. And as I said before, there's that kind of walk-in wardrobe that has the toddler bed. And yeah, I really think that that's a smart idea. I think that that plays on the storyline so well. And there you have it. That is today's build. I'd like to remind you all that if you do enjoy these collab builds or any type of speed builds for that matter, we do cover quite a bit here on the channel, and I would love to have you come join the family. So please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And even if you have future upload ideas, I'm down for it all. Thank you so much to Jennifer44 for collabing with me today. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.